Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Popcorn for Dinner. This is Jeff.
And Kelly.
This week we are finishing off YA Adaptation Month. First off, I'm going to say this show is brought to you by our friend Julie,
Yes.
who was able to lend us the Hunger Games because all the libraries are fucking closed.
Yep.
So that's normally where we get our movies.
Yep. Shout out to the Brookfield Library.
Yeah. Big shout out for normally.
Yeah.
But this time, big shout out to Julie for letting us borrow this. So obviously, I've spoiled it. The movie is Hunger Games, the original Hunger Games, 2012. Yes. This one, based on like all metrics, at least out of the ones that we've watched, so Divergent, Maze Runner, Twilight, Hunger Games, this one was rated the highest.
Right.
Like easily, it seemed.
Yeah. It was like 8s compared to like 4s.
Yeah. So this one was definitely sort of like the crown jewel one that we want to leave until the end to give the best feeling and give the best representation of the genre, so to speak.
Go out on a high note.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I got to ask, was this the best one for you?
I think in terms of quality movie, yes. The most fun for me will always be Twilight, just because that's just part of me.
Different criteria that you're judging it by.
Twilight is not a better movie than The Hunger Games by any stretch of the means.
Yeah.
I think Hunger Games is at least competing for the top spot, if not in the top spot, as far as the movies that we've watched.
So, what, Maze Runner is kind of up there with it? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I definitely would put this one at the top a little bit because of who's in it. A lot of the people in it I do really like. I mean, fucking you got Woody Harrelson, Stanley Tucci, Elizabeth Banks, Donald Sutherland.
I love Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, it's a really awesomely stacked cast that I enjoyed a lot of the performances. And I like I'm not a big like pro or anti Jennifer Lawrence person. Like I know that for some reason she's incredibly polarizing. You know, it's like I've seen roles of hers that I was like, that was good. And I've seen ones where I was like, meh. So in the end, I'm just kind of in the middle on it. So like she was good. I like there were some like standout moments in it where I was like, dang, okay, that was cool.
Yeah, you can see because this is so early in her career.
One thing that I would hold against this movie compared to something like Maze Runner, where it was similarly entertaining, you know, it had some similar kind of actionness to it, and it didn't get too tropey.
Yeah.
But I will say, goddamn, Maze Runner is such a better looking movie. I couldn't believe how poorly shot this movie was.
Yeah.
It really blew my mind. I was like, all this time I've just been sitting there thinking like, yeah, one of those slick Hollywood action movies and all that. And for the first like hour or so of the movie, however long it was, the shooting is really like claustrophobic and in tight and lots of weird jarring cuts. And there were a couple of times where they totally jumped over the 360-degree line where I didn't realize who was giving what to who. The scene where Katniss and Prim, where she gives her the Mockingjay pin back, you know, when she's like, you need it now. They flipped which side of the screen the sisters were on. So I was like, wait, Katniss already gave that to her. Why is she giving it back to her? And I was like, oh, no, that's Prim giving it back to Katniss. Holy shit. Okay, it was weird. I was like, that shouldn't happen in a big, giant budget movie like this. But it really felt that way. And I was like, okay, well, maybe when they get to the game, the Hunger Games, the titular games, it's going to fucking open up. And it's going to, you know, like maybe it's more of a stylistic choice. And then immediately it's just more super in tight, choppy action sequences the whole time. I was like, I really, really thought they were going to like pull back because it's like, it's a big wilderness. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's got all these vistas and shit. You could pull back and have these great shots and see the environment that they're in.
Yeah, they really only do it a couple of times. Yeah. Like when they all first arrive, you see them all standing around in the big...
Yeah, the cornucopia thing. Yeah, there's like one aerial shot. And then all the rest of it is just like ground level, real close. It's like, what do you... I did not like it at all. That was a really big detractor because I was like, fucking all these other movies, even if they weren't great and they were kind of stupid and had dumb characters and shit like that, they at least looked slick and professional and like a blockbuster. And this one really kind of seemed just choppy and blah.
Yeah. And we did watch the Blu-ray. So
it's
not even that we watched.
It's not a case. I mean, it looked good enough, like quality wise, definition wise, but just the style that they shot it in, I was like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
I think for the first movie and all of these movies, I actually liked or at least respected the lead character. I liked Katniss enough.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, she's really cool, I would want to be Katniss's friend. It's like, she seemed a little cold, a little standoffish, but that's fine because that makes for an actual character. And I liked that her, like, she really wasn't special. It was so perfect. I was waiting for it to kind of happen. I was like, it cannot be. It can't be. There's no way that it lets her just be a person who doesn't have this sort of destiny behind them, sort of thing. And it wound up not like she was, her lifestyle made her very good at the games,
right?
But that really felt more like a coincidence than destiny or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I liked that, like, how she gets into it shows some sort of real conviction, because like, think back, like Divergent, you get a choice, you can go to any of these fucking clans or whatever, and she chooses like, oh, I'll go with the Dauntless. And it's like, okay, you made a choice, you made a decision, but at this point it's like, what did that really take?
Yeah.
Other than like, oh, I might not see my family again, but it's like, okay, but they're not gonna die or anything like that. But in this case, it's literally like, hey, Katniss, little sister, going into the games, clearly gonna die. No chance she would ever make it out of there.
Not at all.
And so she's like, fuck, I gotta step up.
Yeah.
And the fact that it wasn't like, I've always wanted to be in the Hunger Games and I will totally win the Hunger Games and it's my duty to win the Hunger Games. It was like, I'm just going to get her out of danger.
Yeah.
Oh shit, now I got to figure this out. She gets herself into a predicament that she has to work out of, but her skills help her. But it's like, it's something that she's worked at. She spent years, I'm sure, getting better and better and better at archery and hunting and all that kind of tracking and stuff, where it's like, it just so happens that the games are really good for people like that. It really helps them out.
This year's games just happen to be in the woods.
The games are held in different places. It's not just one thing. I guess real. How much about Hunger Games do you know? Have you seen the rest of these movies? Have you read them? Anything?
No,
just this. Okay,
just this.
Just making sure.
But
did they? So they mentioned that.
Yeah, they one of the broadcasts that's happening where it's the like dude with the blue hair. I don't remember any of their fucking names.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci.
He was talking with someone else and they were talking about previous Hunger Games and doing like highlights and stuff. And they were talking about how one was a like wasteland of some sort.
Oh, right. Oh, and they showed the little like flashback of that kid bashing the other kid's head in with a rock. Yeah. And it looked like it was in like a city, sort of. Okay. I thought about that at first. I was like, where's the city part of this?
Yeah.
And I thought maybe they just didn't get to it.
No.
Like there's a big giant place where you can Hunger Games, and it just so happened that they only stayed in the section of the map that was all trees and shit. But okay, still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat from the top of the movie, I dug the fact that I was like, this is actually post-apocalyptic. This looks post-apocalyptic. Everything else, especially like Maze Runner, where it's this fucking giant maze that has apparently been built. Yeah. And the world is a complete fucking desert wasteland outside of it, or Divergent, where, the city has been turned into this new utopia place with all these weird places that doesn't really look like anywhere. And then in this one, when they get to her district, District 12, and they're showing it off, as much as I might not understand all the district stuff, like I'm sure there's more explained later, but I had quite a few questions because I was like, so 12 districts revolted. Is that all the districts? Were there other districts? Do those ones don't have to be part of the Hunger Games because they weren't a part of the rebellion against them? I do not know. They did not make that clear. Was it like the whole fucking country revolted and the capital crushed them all and now uses all of them as its toy? Or is this just a segment of the country? No idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But then it gets to her district and it just looks like a fucking beat up rural town. It doesn't look like fucking future slums or something crazy like that. It just looks like what would happen if a place was neglected for a long time. So the whole place seeming kind of realistic future in that sense. Like I think the movie opens with the hosts, doesn't it? First note I wrote was Tucci hair and Bentley beard. So I was like, holy shit, look at these fucking weirdos, these future weirdos with their styles and stuff. But so it's like it starts with them. So that it's kind of a weirdo future society in a way, because it's like, who the fuck looks like that ever? Like, what is going on here? So that there's something weird. But I liked that it kind of grounded us once you get to her place, which I guess kind of helps make her more relatable, you know, where it's like, this feels more like a real place. It's like if you got dropped into the Capitol right at the top of the movie, you'd be like, what the fuck is it? Pink dogs? Why?
Yeah.
What is going on here? This is silly. Because it was silly, but at least at that point in the movie, you're kind of already in the flow of things. So you're like, all right, fine, pink dogs, whatever.
Yeah, like, that's just what rich people do in this time.
Yeah, I guess. See, I was like, are these dogs died or are these dogs bred to be pink now? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Almost immediately, I was like, oh, holy shit, spaceships. I didn't realize how futuristic it really was. Until that fucking spaceship comes over top of them. I was like, oh, okay. Now I kind of understand.
Yeah.
I was a little confused at the like levels of technology in this movie, like how crazy advanced. I mean, obviously it's the capital versus the slums. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That they're super, super high up and they're super, super down low. So, you know, they have nothing and eat squirrels, and the capital has pink dogs and spaceships and stuff. So it's like, okay, I get it. The Hunger Games themselves, the whole point of it is that the districts revolted about 73 years ago or whatever. And as a punishment for their attempted revolt, they have to send 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, from each district, chosen practically at random, to go and participate in the Hunger Games, which is basically just you drop all these kids in a fucking area, wherever the hell it is, in the woods, in the city, whatever, and have them murder each other. The last one alive is the winner.
Yep.
Obviously, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Like as a concept in sort of any form, that's kind of horrifying. Just like, oh man, a bunch of kids just the whole point is that they're going to die. Like 99% of them, well, not 99%. There's a percentage in there that I'm too dumb to do in my head right now. But 1 out of 24 will be alive. Only 1. That's gruesome. There's a ceremony called the reaping.
Right.
And that's where all the people in the district, they put their names in or whatever, or their name has been put in however many times. I know that there's other reasons for it and other ways you could, you know, like if you put your name in more times, you'll get more bread for your family or some shit like that. Everyone essentially has a chance to be picked. And it's like, you know what you're going towards. You know, it's like, you know that this is not like getting fucking drafted to the NFL or something. It's not like, oh my God, they called my name. Like, this is horrible. Why are they getting dressed up? Like, why do they have going to reaping clothes? Like, your mom wants them to put on, like, their Sunday best, essentially, to go to this ceremony, like, to get chosen to die. Who gives a shit? Just show, like, if you have to show up, if you're going to get dragged out of your home by the, like, Capitol Police, if you don't show up, who fucking why look good? To be on TV? Because apparently all of it is televised and you never see cameras or cameramen anywhere. But it's like, apparently every single part of this is televised to people. So it's like, okay, I guess you'd want to look good, but for who? The people who watch this game and want your kids to die anyway? Like, that was a big thing. Like, who is all of this, like, pomp and circumstance bullshit really for? Fucking Liz Banks. I don't know the character's name.
Yeah, I don't know.
The weird one. The fucking Liz Banks. She, you know, at the end of her little speech, and everyone says it afterwards too, like it's a thing that you say of happy Hunger Games. What? None of the, like, it's so obviously and horrifically evil that the way that everyone just kind of glosses over that fact seems so weird to me. It's like, is everyone in denial of how fucked up this is? Is it just now that people getting murdered is normal? That nobody cares? But obviously they care, because the districts get angry later when their kids die, which didn't make any sense to me. Again, like on the opposite coin of that, where it's like, why are you revolting now?
Yeah.
Kids die every year. What are you fucking getting pissed off about? I'm jumping all over the place. I mean, we already said, you know, they go to the reaping. Katniss's sister gets chosen. She's like, no, I volunteer as tribute. That famous sequence from the movie. So she gets taken as tribute. And then PETA, the other kid who kind of knows her, and they kind of explain it throughout the movie, and there's sort of a love thing, but there's not, and I really didn't care.
Yeah.
But he gets chosen as well. They get taken away, and they meet up with Hey Mitch, which I thought someone was saying Hey Mitch at first. And I was like, oh, that's this guy's name. Why? Just make his name Mitch or Hayward. Why do they need stupid ass fake names? I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand why they're insistent on not giving people normal names in these stories.
Twilight did right.
Yeah, really. Fucking Edward. Boom.
Yeah.
It was just, it's so silly to me. It's like, I guess it's so that it's like your character is a brand, you know, like Katniss. There's no other Katnisses out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I guess. Still dumb. It honestly took me a while to understand who these people were and what the fuck they were doing. Like, I did not,
Yeah.
apparently Liz Banks is, like, I thought she was like a representative from the Capitol and just came to that district to come do this ceremony. And then the whole time, her and fucking Woody Harrelson are helping specifically the District 12 kids, Katniss and Peeta. So I was like, oh, so she's
like assigned.
Which I guess she was assigned to the 12th district. Maybe she came from there. Is there upward mobility in this world? I don't know. It seems like you can never get out of your station in this society, but
unless
maybe
Woody Harrelson now lives in the Capitol because he won the Hunger Games.
That was my assumption too. I was like, okay, so he came from 12. He won the Hunger Games ages ago. He's sort of a celebrity. I know they give them like riches and fame and all that if you win it. So like that's his life now. I assume he's there every Hunger Games helping out the kids from that district and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to figure out what the hell all that was. I was like, what are these? What are they doing? And then there's like, then there's training and there's styling and there's interviews and there's and I was like, I thought they were literally just going to fucking take them and put them in the game. Like, it's time for the game now, let's go. I had no clue there was all this extra stuff to it. I wrote down a note where I realized like sort of what the vibe of this whole thing was. I forget who said the line too. I think it might have been Gail, her back home boyfriend guy. Somebody says they just want a good show. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's what this is really about in terms of like sort of thematically.
Yeah.
You know, it's like doing these terrible things for an audience because the audience wants to see it. And they do that. They say that one thing about like, what if we just don't watch?
Yeah.
You know, like, what if we just don't? And then what do they do? You know, it's like, well, truthfully, I think they'd still do it.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd really give a shit.
They're doing it for themselves, not for you guys.
Yeah, really. But I mean, it did bring up some logistical questions in terms of like, so this game is broadcast. I was sort of just assuming it's in a way of like, what the fuck is the bike race, the big long bike race,
the Tour de France.
Yeah, the Tour de France, where it's like a constant thing. It's hours and hours. You know what I mean? And it just goes.
Or like the Olympics.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I just one thing. You know, where it's like instead of like a 3-hour game, it's like it goes until it's over, essentially. And it normally won't take that long, but it could take a long time or whatever. You know, there's no real set boundaries. But I was like, what if one kid just fucking goes berserk and wins in like 10 minutes? Are there like actual sponsors, like people who are advertising on the Hunger Games, you know? And like, what if you sell like 100,000 ad spots because you expect these games to take like 3 days, and some fucking psycho just mows everyone down and you're like, shit, they're over, the games are over, what do you do?
I mean, I don't even know if there are ads that are played or if it's just that's what's on.
I don't know. Again, they didn't really explain it, and I'm not gonna fault them. I'm not gonna say like, hey, I need to know the broadcast schedule of the Hunger Games in order to enjoy this movie. So yeah, Woody Harrelson's giving him advice. He's telling him basically how to win and how to like make people like them and how to get sponsors. They didn't do too much with like it didn't take too long for them to go over this. They didn't like belabor it.
Yeah.
But one thing I thought was so dumb, fucking Peeta, like he gets all intense about it because at first he thinks he's gonna die. He's just like, this is terrible. I'm going to be terrible at this and I'm going to get murdered and this is going to suck. But then all of a sudden he sort of gets into it like, oh, well, maybe I do have a chance. Okay. And he starts asking Haymitch some questions. And he just, how do I find shelter? Fucking look for it, idiot. How could he possibly tell you how to find shelter? Just go find it. Go look for it.
Yeah.
What more is there to it? Like, it's not like, well, first you got to dig a hole. Fill it with water, and then you spin it in a circle, and it'll show you the direction to go to find shelter. No, you idiot! Just go find it. Holy shit! Yeah, wasn't a huge fan of Peeta. He was fine, but some of the things that they had him do were dumb. And they train, which I was like, oh god damn it! There's a training sequence. Of course, there's a fucking training sequence. Thankfully, it did not take too long. And it was pretty. It just sort of set up kind of who these other kids were in a very vague sense. They didn't really go into it too much.
Yeah,
but it was
you
like
didn't need to because they're all gonna die.
Yeah, well, that's sort of a thing. Well, there's just another thing later on. Once the games start, I have a lot of questions about stupid things that happen.
Okay.
But so like they show those other kids and the kids from like districts 1 and 2, which I assume are like just below the capital in terms of their level of sophistication and whatever.
Yeah, those are the inner districts.
Yeah, so they go to some sort of academy that teaches them to murder people. Like they go to Hunger Games Academy. So they're real tough and scary.
It's an honor to fight for their district.
Yeah. So they're psychopaths. And then, you go through the rest of them. Some of them are like clearly just like little kids. And it's like, man, you got just like right off the bat.
Yeah.
If you're one of the people in that room and you're like, 17 or 18 or something, you look around the room and you're like, okay, so don't got to worry about that one or that one or that one because they will die so fast. So that was a little sad. Fucking Lenny Kravitz as her stylist or whatever. That was weird. He's not an actor. He's kind of there. He doesn't really have much like charisma in acting. I'm sure when he's wailing on the guitar, he's got plenty of stage presence, but when he's just like kind of like sitting there and talking to you, why'd you get Lenny Kravitz for this role? It's really nothing to it.
Yeah. Nothing against Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, I mean, he's fine, whatever. He designs all those stupid fire outfits for them, which really, really felt to me like stupid ass, like, just how stupid the people would have to be to find that so amazing. Those crowds go nuts for the fire dress on the TV show when she does the little twirl and everything. And I was like, that's it. That's all it takes for people to be like, holy fucking shit, I love this girl. Like, she's not doing it. It's a dress. It's got fire on it. It looks fake. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It looked really bad. That too. I couldn't believe how bad those fire effects were. I was like, this is 2012, right?
Like, yeah.
It looks like garbage.
Should have been better.
So they're training, and that one, her big scene, I've really wound up liking it a lot. Because it's like they train sort of with trainers and against each other and this and that. And then there's the rating process where they have to go and sort of show what they can do for the mucky mucks sitting up in the balcony or whatever who are going to rate them. And, that helps them get sponsors or something. Like they really hammered on the sponsor stuff. And I think that was a big letdown at the end of the movie was how little that shit mattered. There was so much sponsor talk and it really barely came into play.
Twice it came into play.
So she goes in for her thing and it's like, okay, fucking, you know how to shoot arrows. You go grab the bow, do your shit, show off how cool you are. PETA gives some useless advice just as she's about to leave. He's like, Katniss, shoot straight. Yeah, thanks, dickhead. I didn't figure that part out yet. Shoot straight? What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And so she goes out there and it seems like he jinxed her. She does not shoot straight. She shoots and misses the target. She like misses the head of the target.
Yeah.
By like a few inches. And these people are fucking sitting up there who are rating this. And it's literally like they're not looking at her. She comes out. They're not looking at her. She says like, I am Katniss Everdeen from District 12 here for rating. And then they're like, oh, what? Okay. And they kind of look at her. Then she shoots and she misses. And then they all like, and they turn away and they just start talking to each other and not looking at her. And so she nails a bullseye. They're still not looking at her. While they were doing that, I wrote into my notes. I was like, shoot it at them. I was just, in my head, I was like, just fucking shoot it at them. They're not paying attention. Just fuck them. Who gives a shit? They're sending you off to die anyway.
Yeah.
And then she does. I was so excited. That was my favorite part, was the fact that she actually did exactly what I was hoping that she would do. Just shoot an arrow at them, shoot that fucking apple out of the pig's mouth right in front of them. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, one, awesome display of her skills. Two, if you're playing the game, if you're trying to be popular to get whatever, there's probably not much cooler than that of people being like, oh shit, look at that fucking daredevil firing that up in there. Like they could just toss her into a lake or something for that. But it's like, oh man, she's doing that. Like that was a fun little moment and it definitely made me like her a lot more. After that is that interview where she's wearing the dress with the fire on it and all that shit. And like for the first time in I think any of these movies, I was surprised and delighted at the like direction that the story suddenly took. Like there was a development that I did not see coming, and I liked that there were multiple, like that there was an actual little mystery to it, and I was like, oh, ooh, now there's a development. Because she goes up on the thing, she tells her, she says a couple jokes or something, makes people laugh, shows off her fire dress, everyone claps. So she seems like she does a pretty good job. Then they bring out PETA, and he mentions that, oh yeah, I don't have a girlfriend, but I got a crush on a girl back home and all that. And I'm like, oh, well, if you win, then, you can show her how great you are.
She'll have to date you.
Yeah, she'll have to date you. And be like, oh, that would be pretty hard because she came here with me. And it was legitimately in my head when that happened. I was like, I honestly don't know which it is, and I love it. I don't know if he's telling the truth right now or if he's saying it to garner support. And like a little like, oh, PETA, oh, that's so sad and heartbreaking, and oh, PETA. You know what I mean? So I was like, wow, I did not see that coming. I did not see the like generic love interest storyline interesting me. Like if I was expecting some sort of crush or whatever to pop up somewhere, and I was like, and of course, and they'll go through the motions. But introducing it that way, I was like, holy shit, there's a fun little spin.
Yeah. And
I enjoyed that, and I honestly wasn't sure. And that was like the coolest part, because it's like, PETA, you really don't know throughout the story. Like, he's just like, they pick him at the reaping, and he's standing there looking like an idiot with his mouth agape, like, and finally walks up.
To be fair.
No, I get it. Again, I would be terrified. But just as an introduction to the character, it's kind of like, that dope? Oh, great. And the only other thing we know is that he was at a bakery and he decorated cakes. And I hated that camouflage crap that he did. That was the dumbest stuff I've ever seen. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. This guy can decorate a cake, therefore he can fucking camouflage himself perfectly. With what? What was he using?
Nature.
What makeup did he use to fucking make those outfits and like that camouflage shit? I don't understand that at all. Is it made out of cake? What's going on? It was silly. But so at that point, it's like, I don't know really anything about this guy other than the cake thing. And he could throw a rock real hard. That was not very impressive. I was expecting, because like she wowed them with her archery skills and some other shit. And then they're like, PETA, they're fucking looking at you like a meal. Like they all look at you and they're like, look at this weak little bastard. We're going to kill him so easily. So it's like, so if you got real good strength, you got to go out there and you got to show him. And I was like, oh, cool, awesome. Let's see what he can do. And he just kind of like picked up that big, huge weighted ball and like threw it at like a rack.
He overhand threw it across the room,
which like that is impressive. The overhand part is impressive, but it was the fact that I thought he was gonna like break something or like bam or like knock someone over or make a real big display, and it really just seemed like it was like like, oh, pretty strong.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a big like, holy shit, don't fuck with that guy. It was just like, maybe shoot that guy from afar with something so he can't throw rocks at us. Didn't make him seem tough. I mean, that's when they get to the games, right? Jesus Christ, they had to get to games at this point. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I wrote in there, thank God we're getting to the game and the training sequence was short.
Because Woody Harrelson gets the line, I'm not allowed to bet, but if I could, I'd bet on you.
No, that was
oh no, that was Lenny Kravitz. Yeah, that's right. He comes in and he's there when she gets in the tube to go up.
Right. Which I loved that whole thing. Like, not necessarily like the tubes. Like, man, those tubes were great. But that whole sequence leading up to her going up there, I thought that was the real standout moment for me. That she played that fear well. She's tough and she's skilled and all that stuff. And none of it matters in that moment because it's fucking horrifying. There's no amount of preparation could make you not be fucking terrified. Yep. And I like that they didn't play her as some like superhero of like, now it's time to do my thing. It was like, holy shit, this is really happening. Like, oh my God, I really dug the way that she played it. Yeah, and I just wrote down, Jesus, countdown from 50? But like, why would you count down from fucking 50? That is too fucking much. There's so
Yeah.
many shots of things getting ready that are so unneeded. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
go.
Yeah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Hunger Games. Jesus Christ. Just do it. Like, it's like stretching it out right there. It's like, just get to it. And the kids all run out there, and they learned from Haymitch not to run to the supplies that are sitting there because everyone just murders each other.
Right.
Which does happen.
And
all
also,
the tough kids murder all the small kids for the most part.
Also, don't leave the platform early because there's mines in the ground.
Yeah, which I guess get turned off the moment that the timer goes off, which is like, you better.
Yeah.
Because these kids are all going to go hoofing it as soon as that timer goes off. You better have disarmed them at that point. The mines themselves were a little weird too, because like later the kids dig them up
Mm-hmm.
and then replant them and rearm them. Like, how did they know how to do this? It was absurd.
They learned it in District 1 and 2, apparently.
I guess they teach that.
Yeah, 'cause it's like they know that those mines are there.
Yeah. So the first like day goes by, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And essentially she runs off into the woods. She grabs like one backpack and she runs off into the woods by herself. She runs into the redheaded girl. And I was expecting so much from that character, so much more from that character. Because like they literally run into each other and they kind of like see each other, but neither of them attacks the other. And the redheaded girl just kind of takes off.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, that's going to come back. She must come back. Like, there must be more to the, like it's that thing of like, you had a chance, you could have, but you were too good. You were too noble. You didn't want to hurt anybody and you let her go and she's going to be a problem later. Very disappointed at how that wound up turning out. But she goes off. She kind of just like survives out in the woods for the night by herself, like climbing a tree and whatever.
She made a snare to catch something.
Yeah. So she's basically just living her life and like probably just hoping that everyone else will kill each other.
Yeah.
She didn't seem to have a very like specific plan. And then on the fucking computer sky, I did not understand that either. Are they in like a dome? Is the sky now a computer in the future? I didn't understand that at all. I was so confused.
Yeah, I
thought it was projection at first, and then I'm like, no, that's like a computer screen sky. What is happening?
Yeah, there must be a dome. I don't know.
I guess, but they show up on the dome. They start showing all the kids who have been killed in like the first day of Hunger Gaming. And at that, it was, like you were saying earlier, it's like, you don't need to introduce the kids because they don't matter. It's like, yeah, but then this scene doesn't matter because it's like, who the fuck what do I care?
Yeah.
And
it's just to show you that like 8 kids have died already.
Yeah.
You know.
But not only that, it's like, what does Katniss care? She doesn't fucking know them either. You don't need to show all these kids dead. We know they're dead. We saw them get murdered.
Yeah.
They start the forest fire to push her back towards all the other people because she's like wandering away and just surviving. And they're like, no, she's got to fight.
Yeah.
So they're going to force her back towards them with a fucking forest fire.
Yep.
Which is like, one, you might just kill her. Which, I mean, I know that it's like whatever, anything goes, you can die from whatever. But if she's like a big thing for you, that's a waste.
Yeah.
To just kill her with a forest fire. And 2, forest fires don't just stop. You can't just be like, and here. They will end right here. It's like that would just take out the rest of the fucking place.
I mean, they could just pop in digital but real animals like nothing. So maybe they can take trees out.
I guess. Yeah, that was weird with the dogs at the end. That was goofy. But yeah, but she gets hit with the fireball. It burns her. She needs the like healing salve, and she gets it from Haymitch. Fucking like the next day shows up, and those people, the like 1s and 2s, and PETA have formed an alliance.
Yep.
And they're coming to kill Katniss. Why the fuck would you ever make an alliance in the Hunger Games? All that's going to happen is that they're going to kill you or you're going to have to kill them. Why work together at any point in time? All you're going to do is help someone else get stronger or better or better weapons, or you get your own better weapons and then you kill. Like, I can understand like a super alpha being like, you get my shit. But it's like, still, don't fucking listen to him. Why would you listen to him? Why would anybody be on his side and be like, you know what? I'm going to help this dude. Like, he is trying to murder you. I don't get it. I was hoping they would explain something. I was hoping there would be some sort of whatever. And then later in the movie, they're like, if 2 tributes from the same district are alive at the end, then those 2 can be the winners, the dual winners. And I was like, that is the only point in time that a fucking alliance makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Like, it just, because then fucking Kato's chasing Katniss up the tree. And fucking Peeta's standing down there, and the other 3 assholes are like cheering him on, like, yeah, Kato, you fucking get her, yeah. And I was like, okay, for one, it's obvious Peeta is not on their side. Not for a second did I believe that he had like defected and hated her and wanted her dead or anything like that. But then Kato's fucking climbing the tree behind her, and the other 3 idiots are cheering, and I'm like, Peeta, just kill them.
Yeah.
They're not looking at you. Just fucking stab them in the neck with something. Like, you must have some weapons or something at this point. Or pick up a big rock, you strong man, and fucking crush their heads. Like, it didn't make any sense why people were like biding their time with anything. Of like, oh, I'll lay low with this person for a little while. And then just murder. Just fucking kill. That's the whole point of it.
One of the people from Kato's group even said like asked why they were keeping Peeta alive.
Yeah. And it's like, you should be asking why he's keeping you alive.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna fucking kill you. It just blew my mind. And then fucking later, Katniss meets up with that girl Rue. And it's like, as soon as she showed up, I'm like, and Rue is dead. No way she's not dead. And like, from a like movie point of like, clearly she's gonna get killed and Katniss is gonna be sad.
Right.
But also just from a like logistical point of like, it's the Hunger Games and she has to die because Katniss will win this. So
yeah, because she's tiny.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and she's tiny. So it was obvious that she was gonna die. But like, again, like, I get in the book, I was reading someone's review about this and talking about, you know, the book versus the movie and how her helping Rue was really a case of like, she saw a lot of her sister in her and was like, oh, I need to protect this little girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get that. But really, in the back of your fucking mind, you got to think about it. Like, if you protect this girl and you fucking outlast everyone else and you kill them.
Then what?
Yeah, what the fuck do you do then? That's my problem with all the alliances. Like, if at any point you actually become teammates with these people or have any sort of like caring or emotional attachment to them, once it comes down to you two, it's like,
so are you killing them or are you killing yourself?
Yeah, I mean, really, in the end, like, I would assume that Katniss probably would kill herself because that's just sort of how she would be, as much as she would hate to because she has her family back at home.
Yeah.
She might be
she would
noble
rather
enough.
Save
yeah, exactly.
Rue.
Rather save someone than have to murder them like that. But that's because it's Katniss, and that's because she's the hero and she has that sort of
quality.
Yeah, that quality to her. But anybody else, like that fucking psycho Kato, like, unless he is literally like, I will fucking murder you right now unless you join me and help me with stuff, he's just gonna murder you later.
Yeah,
there's no reason to ally with him. I hated that whole thing.
Unless you're just being his ally to like get on his good side and wait for an opportunity to take him out.
I mean, that would have to be the long game to it, but it's just like, with how fast these kids were dropping, it's like, it is not going to be long before this little group is all that's left. And then all of a sudden you just turn to each other and you're like, well, now we got to murder you. It's like, you're just going to get fucking stabbed in the back of the head or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, if they were all chasing Katniss and it was just them and Katniss, and she's off in the wilderness and something fucking happened to her. She like falls off a cliff or something. And then they hear the cannon go off to let you know that somebody died. And they're like, oh shit, it's just us.
Yeah.
The first person to realize it is
the winner?
Yeah,
maybe?
Is apparently the winner, because they're just going to be like, and stabby stab, slash, whatever, and just murder everybody else. I don't know. It just tactically, it seems dumb. It seems like really the only way to go about this is to fucking go it alone. At least from my perspective. I couldn't imagine teaming up with somebody in this scenario because there's never a chance that like we'll make it out of here. It's just like, we'll make it to a certain point, and then I'll bash your head open. You know, it's weird. I mean, I guess that's kind of the point, that it's really fucked up and what would you do and all that. It just, I couldn't take the bad guys seriously because I thought they were very dumb. These fucking idiots, they're just gonna get murdered. It's clear who the bad guy was. You know what I mean? Like, other than the capital people. Yeah. You could tell that Kato was like the big guy. So it's like, he's the bad guy. Everyone else should have teamed up against him. Yeah. And then once he's dead, then you all can fight it out amongst yourselves. Yeah. But yeah, so then obviously Rue gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
And I read a lot of reactions to this movie where people were like, "Oh my god, that was so heartbreaking," and I was like, "In theory, in action." I wound up writing literally for this. I was just said, "Is this terrible editing to cover up more gruesome stuff?"
Maybe.
Because I wrote, because holy shit, Rue's death scene was edited by a fucking wood chipper. Holy shit, I couldn't tell what happened at first. Because for one, you don't hear it.
Yeah.
He throws something, and it's just like, it's like if you don't hear a sound of it impacting something, it just disappears as far as you're concerned. If you're watching a movie, like just that's how you have to work it that way.
It went past you and it's out of earshot.
Yeah,
now.
Apparently. And then she kills him, and then she turns and fucking Rue got stabbed. And I was like, this is like Chunk all over again.
Yep.
Whereas someone gets hit with something, you don't even realize it because they don't fucking react until the dramatic moment when the hero looks at them and then notices, like, oh, by the way, Katniss, I've been stabbed.
Yeah.
And rolls over backwards and fucking dies or whatever. I guess it was just because it was so obvious to me that I was just waiting for it. It wasn't even a question. It wasn't like somehow her, Katniss, and Peeta will all get out of this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know obviously Katniss wins, and I'm pretty certain that Peeta is involved in later stories, like from what I've heard from sequels and things. Because I feel like Chrissy might have seen one of these or was watching them. Yeah, okay, there you go. So it's like I know that Peeta exists further on too. So it's like, so if those two definitely make it out of here, Rue does not. There's no way 3 people win the Hunger Games.
I wrote a note like, why make a friend with someone you know is going to die?
Yeah. And if not by someone else, by your own fucking hands. Yeah.
But then they team up. Oh, before she dies, though, Katniss blows up everyone's supplies.
Which seemed like another terrible tactical thing. It's like, so you dig up all the mines and you put it around your own shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I get having a perimeter to your area, but it seemed like they literally just like, okay, so we're going to bury a bunch of explosives and put all of our valuable stuff on top of them.
The explosives were around all of the valuable supplies so that if anyone just went running up, they'd get exploded.
No, I know, but no matter what, it's going to blow up your stuff.
Yeah.
That's why it's like you need to make a perimeter far away from your actual shit. Not literally directly by it. Like,
and
it's like,
not so obvious because they were very...
that
one girl was able to just like jump around them.
Oh, that was so silly. Yeah, so then Rue gets killed and Katniss screams over it for like an hour and somehow attracts zero attention despite just sitting in the forest screaming and crying.
Yep.
And then, like we mentioned earlier, Rue's district like revolts because she got killed. And it's like...
Well, and then Katniss like finds a camera and does the whatever the district sign is, the 3 fingers up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that apparently instigates a riot.
So she did it? She caused the riot?
It seems like it.
Okay, because the way it was looking to me, it made it seem like everyone was really upset that Rue was dead and their fucking district went crazy about it. And it's like, A, 74 years of this. You should be used to it a little bit. B, as cute and adorable as she is, if you understand anything about these games, you know that she was doomed. It's not like this was a surprise or an upset or something. Like, I can't believe they killed her. It's like, that should have been obvious from the start that she would be dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, she seemed like a super underdog. If Katniss was apparently labeled an underdog at some point.
Yeah, because she was from one of the outlying districts.
Yeah, then Rue is clearly the underest of dogs.
Yeah.
Then the Capitol like pipes in and says like, oh, we just made it so that if 2 survivors are from the same district, they both get to live. And it's like, oh, holy shit, maybe she will actually be able to save someone, be able to save Peeta. And she literally stumbles upon him.
Yeah, when he grabs her ankle.
As he is made up like a rock sitting on the floor. That was the silliest looking thing and so stupid. How the fuck? Like, his leg was torn open. He couldn't move.
Yeah.
He was like dying, and he still had enough time to intricately mold himself into the surrounding rocks to just lay there and die.
To me, it looked like he just like covered himself with like the dirt and stuff around him because he also had like moss draped over his arm.
I mean, that might have been what they were going for, but
Yeah.
you could tell that was like a 4-hour makeup chair job.
Oh yeah.
For the movie.
Absolutely.
So it really seemed like it was like, did he sit there and apply that all himself? Where did he get it? Where did he get the spirit gum to put that on? Yeah, so she finds him, she pulls him into a cave. They're sitting in there. That's when they get the notice that there's extra supplies that have been brought out for the survivors. Like exactly what you need. So obviously it's going to be magic leg healing salve. In the future, now everything is in salve form.
Apparently.
Or it's like, oh, his leg is all torn up. You need like a needle and some thread and shit to like sew it up and maybe cauterize it and get it all good. Like, no. You just rub this goop on it.
Yep. You're good
same
to
with
go.
Same with the burn, same with everything. Just rub some
knife
goop
slice
on it.
across her forehead.
Yeah, just goop.
And apparently it works perfectly fine, even when applied with like the dirtiest of hands.
Yeah.
Like when he was putting it on her forehead.
You
like
put more mud on her face than it.
Yeah, like how does that still work?
Yeah.
There is one more package. She got soup.
She got soup? When the fuck did she get soup?
Before they got the medicine. So they got to the cave and then they were talking and stuff. She gave him a little peck on the cheek. And then he fell asleep or something and she went out because she heard the beeping of the package. And there was
I slightly remember
there was the soup and the note from Haymitch saying, "You call that a kiss?"
Oh God, that's right. So she knew she had to go in and like make it look better.
Exactly.
And give him a kiss. Yeah.
So she gave him the soup because he had fever or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
the soup will heal your leg.
Yeah, apparently.
So yeah, and then she kisses him, and then it cuts to fucking Gail.
Yeah. So sad.
Watching it, and I was just like, I do not care about her back home boyfriend at all.
Nope.
Again, I'm sure it comes up later. I'm sure this is a fucking Edward Jacob thing.
It absolutely is.
And I just could not give less of a fuck about that. That was another like kind of letdown. Is like I liked that she was kind of playing the game, but I hated the fact that you could tell like sort of what it was leading to of like, so you do you really love him? You know? And whatever. Like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not really interested in watching the rest of these movies if I can sit through that. So she goes to get the fucking medicine and she gets attacked, right?
Right.
She gets attacked by one of the girls from one of the crazy districts or whatever.
Right.
Who is going to murder her. And then the guy from Rue's district, like just straight up beats the fuck out of her to death. Which was pretty cool. Like in terms of like, fuck you for all that. But considering how the numbers had dwindled so far, I get his like, I'm letting you have this one for free because of how nice you were to Rue.
Yeah, like
and
this
then
is
he
for
just,
Rue. And,
and then he runs off and he doesn't kill her or anything. And it's like, dude, come on. You're not going to win the fucking Hunger Games with that attitude.
Yeah.
You're sitting there. She's already laying on the ground. She kind of got beat up already.
Yeah,
she's
has
in a prone
slice
position
across her forehead.
Yeah, like fucking just kill her. Just kill Katniss. Just do it right now. Like if you had, you
could win.
Should. Yeah, exactly. Boom. But then he doesn't, and I don't think you see him again. I think he must just die off screen.
I think he gets killed by the dog thingies.
Really? Because he wasn't like a part of the crew, was he? He wasn't part of the bad guy posse. He was just a dude. I don't feel like we saw him at all throughout the whole games until he shows up to hit her.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't know.
So then finally, Redhead shows up again. I thought that she was going to be like a way bigger problem for Katniss. Again, like I said, like, oh shit, you should have done something about it earlier. And now she's going to be like like she's going to be a surprise final person you have to kill. You know, maybe like that. And then they fucking find her and it's like, oh, she ate the stupid berries.
Yeah.
She ate the dummy berries and now she's dead. Oh, dang it. And I was really bummed at that. I was like, oh man, I kind of wanted her to do something.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh, well, the only thing she did was show you that eating those berries kills you. So that you understand that significance later on. And then Wes Bentley releases the hounds. which fucking, I cannot believe that this was actually a line, but Peeta says, "What is that?" And Katniss says, "It's the finale." It's like, really?
Yeah.
Did she really just say what's happening in the movie? Like, this is the finale of the movie. This is what goes on.
Yep.
Like, I know what she's referencing, the finale of the games. But to literally just flat out say that, I was like, wow. Just mailing that part in, movie.
Yeah.
I was wondering, why bother with this monster dog nonsense at all? Like, as a movie, you have the bad guys, you have Kato, you have these kids, and they're way more like engaging bad guys because at least right at the end, he finally shows like a semblance of humanity, you know, and he's like, "Oh my God, all this killing, and it's all I've trained for is fucking killing people. That's all I am." And he like has some sort of, you know, breakdown about it. So you know that there's like, oh, there's something there, you know. He's like, he's murdered a lot of kids, but he's clearly sort of conflicted, but this has been his whole life, and can you really blame him? And all of that. But then it's like, well, the big bad guys are dogs.
Yeah.
Like, what's with these fucking Resident Evil dogs? Why are they in this movie? And then fucking while he's like sobbing, Kato, because they're on top of the cornucopia, they've escaped from the fucking dogs, but they're down on the ground like, and apparently can't jump up there too. I was like, these are giant monster mutant dogs.
I think it's because it's metal. It's too slick. They can't get a grip to.
I guess, but
it's like a dog trying to run up a metal slide. It just doesn't happen.
But so the dogs are down there, the kids are on the top. Kato's got Peeta around the neck, and Katniss shoots him in the hand with an arrow, which is like, that hand was like on Peeta's chest. You're lucky it did not go all the way through.
I shoot that arrow too hard, and
and Peeta's gone too.
Yeah.
So that like essentially distracts him enough for Peeta to get the upper hand and knock him off the cornucopia to the dogs, where they devour him. And it just, I feel like I've written something like this for a lot of movies, where it's just like, when it happens, especially because it's like, it's the villain, it's kind of like a, yeah, all right kind of moment. It's like, just think about it as a real person for a moment and try to feel good about it. So it's like, and our heroes feed the crying boy to the dogs. Oh, but at least she mercy killed him by getting him in the head while he's being eaten. It's like, he probably has gone through so much horror already down there. Like, you've barely helped.
Yeah.
You couldn't have hit him in the head first. Like, you have impeccable aim. I thought that was where it was going, you know, where it's like, if she could shoot that fucking apple out of that pig's mouth, then she could hit this dude in the head. That seemed like the perfect parallel, you know. Well, it's like that scene earlier shows, but that's the thing. He's like kind of hiding behind him, but he's leaving enough of his head there that I was like, that's the spot.
Yeah, no, she.
But then he would have
dragged. Yeah,
but then he would have dragged Peeta down into the pit with the dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like maybe have Peeta do something heroic at all to avoid that.
But it's Peeta, so it's not going to happen.
And then I wrote, suicide pact ending. Neat. If only the movie would let it happen. And not in a sense that like I hated them and wanted them to die, but just like what an actual awesome ending to this little story it would have been, of like standing up for it and being like, you know what, fuck it. We're not going to give them what they want.
Yeah.
And just like, if they could have just gone through with it and that was it, and that was the whole series, it was just the Hunger Games was a movie and that's it, I would have loved that. But I knew it couldn't happen. I knew it couldn't. I knew it wouldn't. So I was just waiting for it. Like, how close are they going to get those berries to their mouth before somebody calls them off? And they get way too close.
Yeah, they do.
For fucking the Capitol's comfort, because it's like, because all they can do is be like, don't.
Yeah.
There's no way to like stop them. They can't like shock them or freeze them or do anything. It's literally just like, please don't.
Yeah.
And they take way too long before like telling them to not eat the berries and be like, never mind, you both win.
Yeah.
Everything's cool. So they win. They win the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games have been won.
Yep.
It's Katniss and Peeta. And which just sounds like nonsense when you say it out loud. But then like the rest of the movie, the whole ending of the movie, for one, it felt like 50 pages of book crammed into like 5 minutes of movie. And also it was, again, one of my pet peeves with these movies, where it's like, this all just feels like setting up the next one.
Yep.
You're not resolving anything from this movie. You're just kind of bringing up shit that will be important later.
Yep.
Okay.
How you've pissed off the Capitol.
Yeah. And, they're not going to take it lightly. It's like, well, okay.
They're not going to let you get away with it.
I see where they're going with it. But again, since my preferred ending would have been actually just doing it, because it's like, that seems like what it should eventually get to, is like the like dishonoring of the Hunger Games, like ruining it for everyone.
Yeah.
And so that ending would have been great. It would have been like, fuck all y'all. You don't get a winner this year. And make people question it and whatnot. And maybe inspire a more successful revolt among the districts, which, again, I assume that's where the series is going.
I'm assuming as well.
Yeah, it's just that they take another couple of books to get to it. I know you all want series and a franchise and sequels and double part endings and all that shit.
Yep.
But truthfully, as a standalone story, it could have just ended. They could have eaten the purple berries that taste like burning and die, and it would have been fun. Well, not for them.
Yeah. But we do get to see Donald Sutherland walk out with the like evil villain music right at the end. Yeah,
and I guess Wes Bentley was forced to kill himself.
Yep.
Because they lock him in a room with the berries, and it's like,
it's the only thing for him to eat.
Yeah, it's like, do what you're gonna do.
Yep.
I didn't understand why they killed him. That was really my big thing.
Because he let Katniss win.
So wait. Because
Katniss and Peeta won, Wes Bentley had to kill himself.
Okay, so
because
so if they
Snow didn't want Katniss to win. That's why he was pissed that she got such a high rating.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I do recall that now, because I did write a note in here that maybe there's just, again, stuff that I missed that you kind of caught better than I did. But I was like, does there have to be a fucking conspiracy against her?
It's because she's from an outlying district. They didn't.
What does it matter?
Because those apparently are the districts that are most likely to start an uprising.
Right, but his whole speech, like when I heard his speech, the whole thing about hope is better than fear, you would think that having a winner from one of the like poorest districts would be the greatest for keeping them in line, if that is your philosophy. Because you give them hope. Because like, she wins the games, she becomes famous and gets money and all that, which is, what everyone from that fucking district wants to do.
Right.
Is to be better than this bullshit that they're living in. So if his thing is that it's like, if you give them that little bit of hope, they'll stay in line better than they will if they're just afraid of you. Then if she wins it, then they have that little bit of hope. It's still not much. Like, I know he says like, but not too much hope. Yeah,
I think that's too much hope for him, because he doesn't want those outer districts to think that like they are as good as the inner districts.
It seems like the best way to go about this. Like, if you really wanted everyone to stay in line, you should be trying to get them to sort of want to be a part of the Hunger Games to win it. You know what I mean? Because as it stands, it seems like those lower districts, like the 12s and the 11s and whatever, when they get picked, it's fucking horrifying to them. They're like, oh God, no. But then from those like 1s and 2s who are like training for this shit, they're like, we're the fucking best. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So it's like, if everyone felt that way, they'd be much less likely to fight back against you. Because like, as it stands, you're just giving them more reasons to fucking hate you. It's like, so they take our children, they usually get murdered. Fucking, we never win. And but it's like, if they start winning them, then you'd think that the people there would be like, well, shit, maybe that's an actual viable way of getting out of here, is training up for the games and trying to play and trying to be good. I guess that was kind of just my point of view on it, based on that whole like sports thing, where it's like, you want to fucking play for the team because they'll pull you out of poverty and give you a greater life.
Yeah.
And that keeps people trying to get in, as much as it might, destroy your body or your brain or whatever it is. It's actually a pretty good allegory for professional sports, but I don't think they meant that.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, I again, a lot of it is personal taste. That's where I would have wanted to go with it. But I think that's going to wrap it up here for Popcorn for Dinner today. And that's going to wrap up YA month for Popcorn for Dinner.
It was a fun month.
I'm just glad that I saw them now. You know what I mean? Like, I used to have a shallow, like, from a distance opinion on it of like, it's not for me, probably. And then now that I watched it, it's like, yeah, it's not for me. Now there's no question about it. Now I've seen them and I know. Well, this is Jeff.
And Kelly.
May the odds be ever in your favor.